Greetings, citizens of the world. President Trump was hit with some hard news when he found out his top security agent, personal bodyguard, and director of Oval Office operations will no longer be with the White House. It's reported that President Trump is torn up by the departure of Keith Schiller, who plans on returning to the private security sector. This is one man that Trump would probably enjoy having around, as they likely have a good standing relationship. Our president needs support from people who trust in him, and who he trusts in return. We need a strong group of people running the White House in a trusting fashion, not in a snitch-like way that pits people against each other. Trump has lost quite a few members of his administration, some who had to go, but losing Schiller may be a rough loss. I don't think Trump wanted him to go, but perhaps the job and the White House wasn't a right fit for Schiller, who often handled some big tasks like firing James Comey. Keith Schiller, the president's former personal bodyguard turned director of Oval Office operations, is leaving his White House job to return to the private security business, Bloomberg reported Tuesday, noting that Trump is crushed by the planned departure. That's because Schiller is more than just another White House aide. He's reportedly one of Trump's closest confidants outside his family, and has been described by West Wing insiders as the president's protector, gatekeeper and wingman, as well as his emotional anchor. He's a confidant and friend, Stuart Jolly, a former national field director for Trump's presidential campaign, told Bloomberg. Trump trusts Keith, and Keith trusts him. Trust is a really big deal at that level. In an administration plagued by turmoil, Schiller was also known for doing some of the president's dirty work, including firing former FBI Director James Comey. Watching someone this close to Trump leave the job is gut-wrenching, but once you learn the reason why Schiller left, then you truly can't blame him. He reportedly took on a lower pay with the White House, earning $165,000. His lower salary also came with working more hours. So ideally, that doesn't sound good to anyone. I don't know many people who would take lower pay and longer hours. Some people claim that things went awry for Schiller when John Kelly became the chief of staff. Schiller, who reportedly could enter the Oval Office at any time to see his longtime pal and client, President Trump, could no longer waltz into the big room to hang with his pal Donald. Now he's just like any other person in the White House. Schiller has reportedly told friends that he doesn't like working under Kelly, who has tried to bring a sense of order and formality to the disorganized White House. The regime change meant Schiller lost his privilege to walk into the Oval Office at any time to see the president. What does this mean for Schiller? Well, he's lurking about the notion of returning to the private security sector where he supposedly earned more money. It's a shame for Trump though, because Trump seemed to trust him and vice versa. Trust is hard to come by in a government job. Schiller's departure opens the Pandora's box for a plethora of potential problems. People believe the West Wing will lose its mind a little bit and Trump and Kelly will have issues with each other. But now, White House aides reportedly fear that Schiller's exit will leave the president and the West Wing off balance and lead to clashes between Trump and Kelly. Schiller also reportedly believes that Kelly doesn't like the president personally, something sources say has been deeply demoralizing for Schiller, who is used to Trump being surrounded by devoted employees. I can understand if Kelly doesn't like Trump as a person, but if Kelly is on board with a White House job, then he should probably be on board with the president. It's better for people to work together in a smiling and happy environment where they trust each other. Can you imagine working at a job where everyone is at their wits' end with each other? I can't imagine there's any form of productive work being accomplished in a setting without trust. Trump needs a White House filled with people who want to get things done, not be a problem in the side of government. Tax reform, education reform, and many issues need to be addressed without being held up by some meaningless democratic feelings. Trump is dealing with hurricane relief, DACA, and it would have been nice for